What's the fewest people that could repopulate the planet? Now, I remember hearing, because, I grew up in a Christian society and all of this, right? I remember people telling me it's Adam and Eve and all of this, which I'm not religious. I don't believe in, like, most stuff. But wouldn't that mean, if Adam and Eve, if all that stuff was true, wouldn't that mean that we would be all products of incest? But then I heard people said that humans were pure back then. So, even with incest, they would, all of the new people would be normal. And the evidence for that is what? Text on a book? I don't get it.
Imagine nuclear blasts, asteroids, or alien lasers killed off almost all of the humans on Earth. Obviously, there would be a bunch of potential post-apocalyptic problems that we would have to deal with depending on the disaster at hand.
Okay.
Our food supply might be irradiated, our atmosphere unbreathable, heck, all the planet's water could have boiled away. And if any of that stuff happens, we're probably doomed no matter what. But all those problems aside, how many people would it take to actually rebuild a genetically...
If I was one of those people, I wouldn't want to live like this. No. Living in a post-apocalyptic fucking world and trying to survive if there's no humans, humans, not enough humans, and also there's not enough food and stuff, and somehow we're supposed to like continue the human, species. Yeah, I don't know about that one, Chief. I'd much rather just than, somehow try to survive.
Sustainable human population after being nearly wiped out. We have some actual science to go on here because this issue has been considered by two groups of researchers, those who study endangered species and those who study space colonization. And the big issue here is bad
There's scientists who study space colonization. I want to research that.
genes. Hi, I'm Cameron and this is Minute Apocalypse. Any given human probably carries recessive genes for at least one deadly disease or another, and while a single copy of one of these genes is no big deal, having multiple copies could end up giving you that disease, genetically dooming you. And the fewer survivors there are, the smaller the pool of genes will be that future generations will draw from, increasing a person's chances of getting two copies of the same bad gene. Likewise, the more survivors there are, the more different genes there are, and the smaller the chances would be that one would get multiple copies of the same disease-giving gene. So there must be a critical minimum number of survivors. And the space colony scientists have estimated that an off-world founding population would likely need roughly the population of 11th century London, at least 14,000 people, in order to maintain a healthy gene pool and to preserve the technological and cultural aspects of society. But we want bare bones here. We can worry about redeveloping society and technology later. If we're only concerned with our species' survival, space colony math suggests that we could get by with roughly 5,000 people. But about 800,000 years ago, our primate ancestors actually rebuilt their population from an even smaller number, a breeding pool of around 1,300 people. Those people might have gotten away with this, at least in part, because the group was genetically diverse. They likely didn't share the same bad genes. And if we were to get really lucky as far as genes goes, the math suggests we could get by with as few as 150 to 500 survivors, which is about the number of people on a single commercial airline flight, but that's close to enough.
This made me think now. Does this mean that people who are more, and this is just me being an idiot, I know there's multiple factors, but maybe this is also one of them. Does this mean that people who are genetically more prone to certain stuff, diseases and stuff, does that mean down their lineage, their ancestors, there was a little bit more inbreeding, but not to that point where they would, not be able to survive and just die and, be born with huge genetic anomalies, the very distorted body parts and shit, distorted. You know what I mean, right? Oddly shaped or missing and so on. Does that mean that historically they had stuff related to that? I know there's also stuff related to like health and all of their generations and how healthy they were, and related to their environment, pollution or not, and so on. I don't know. That just popped in my mind.
Absolute minimum. However, if we could see the apocalypse coming, some scientists argue that we could get by with a carefully selected, genetically diverse group of as few as 98 people. And in this scenario, all the survivors would have to be at reproductive age, and they'd need to be managed by a strict set of reproductive rules that ensures they only mate with the most distantly related.
Yeah, here's why in reality this wouldn't be ever possible. If this ends up happening because of a nuclear war, maybe there's nuclear bunkers with enough. If we didn't have those nuclear bunkers, right, so for the few rich people in the world would survive. Maybe, let's say we don't have them. There's this, right? There's a nuclear winter. Farming and agriculture is basically dead. Tons of people are dying, okay? It's much harder to live longer, okay? Also, in your group of people, there's much less people right now, right? Let's say there's 1,000. How many of them actually know how to fucking survive? How many actually of them have the necessary skills to be able to somehow survive in such an environment, okay? Just fucking alone won't get us that, won't get us really that far. You know what I mean? Maybe this is my philosophical mind just not leaving me alone.
Member of the population. This basically is how zoos run breeding programs for endangered species, one of which rehabilitated the black-footed ferret population.
See, now zoos, all of these ferrets, right, or whatever these are, they are being monitored by humans, which are more intelligent. They got the resources, all of this, right? You're telling me there's going to be, from like, let's say 1,000 people, there's going to be 1,000 people who will, there's going to be like 1 or 2 or 10 that will have the knowledge to monitor all of this and somehow know, like, you've got no electricity, you've got no agriculture, you've got nothing. Like, it's like, imagine being back to before the Stone Age and way less people. Like, that's the kind of environment you're in. And you're telling me the people are going to be monitoring this. Yeah, I don't know.
From just 24 surviving animals. This scenario raises a mind-boggling number of ethical questions, but theoretically it could work. And if you want to get really technical, we could restart society with 1 survivor. We would just really have to plan ahead. Like, if before the apocalypse even happens, we create a bank of frozen fertilized embryos that the lone survivor could give birth to, we'd have plenty of genetic diversity to stave off the bad gene problem.
Yeah, that's one thing, and I thought of this, but I was like, yeah, but then the world gets nuked into oblivion, and we don't have any resources like this. That's what I was talking about.
This is
naturally, biologically, just by that way, there's no way one human can repopulate the fucking planet. There's no way 2 people can. Okay, a man and a woman, no fucking way. They're just gonna, their kids are just gonna be, their kids are gonna be siblings. Then what?
scenario is obviously also ethically fraught, but theoretically it's possible. And it would take only around 420 years to get back to our current population size. So yes, with a lot of planning, we could restart humanity with just 1 person, but let's not build nuclear bombs this time, alright?
Nope, that's not how humanity works. I mean, I'm not gonna go deep into that, you guys know what I mean. But now that we have nukes, now we have AI, everybody's scared if the other person gets more powerful because of that, so this person also is hyper-focused on the nukes and AI. And then you've got the AI race and the nuclear arms race and so on. There you go. I don't know if you guys know, but the fear, negative emotions and so on, they are much bigger motivators than positive emotions and reaffirmations, or affirmations, whatever you want to call them. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comments. Fast, interesting video. And I don't know if any of this is true or not, by the way. I don't know how fact-checked or true this is. It's just an interesting topic. Tell me what you think, and have a nice day.